We all have them. These quiet whispers. They tell us stories about ourselves, stories about what we can and cannot do. These are limiting beliefs. They feel like solid truths. But are they? Or are they just old tapes playing? These beliefs act like invisible walls. We build them, brick by brick. Often we don't even realize we're doing it. They influence the choices we make. They can become self-fulfilling prophecies. If we believe we are not capable, we might not try. If we believe we are not worthy, we might not reach out. These beliefs can keep us small. They can keep us stuck in places we've outgrown. It starts with recognizing the walls. So where do these limiting beliefs originate? They often start young. In childhood, we are like sponges. We absorb messages from our families, from our teachers, from our earliest experiences, a critical comment, a moment of failure, a comparison to someone else. These moments can plant seeds of doubt, seeds that grow into sturdy beliefs over time. Society plays a role too. The media, our culture, they send us messages every day. Messages about what success looks like, what beauty looks like, what happiness looks like. These external pressures can become internal truths. Understanding their origins is the first step. It's about reclaiming our narrative power. One of the most common limiting beliefs is perfectionism. It pretends to be about high standards. It masquerades as a drive for excellence. But let's be clear, perfectionism is not about striving to be our best. Perfectionism is, at its core, a shield. It's a 20-ton shield that we lug around. It's heavy. It's exhausting. It's a defense mechanism. Perfectionism is deeply rooted in the fear of shame. The thinking goes like this: if I can do it perfectly, then I can avoid or minimize criticism, but it's an unwinnable game because perfect doesn't exist. It's about progress, not perfection. Another powerful trap is the fear of judgment. We are wired for connection. We are social creatures. Belonging is a fundamental human need. So, the thought of being judged, the thought of being criticized or rejected, it can feel terrifying. This fear is a powerful silencer. It keeps our true selves hidden. When we are afraid of what others will think, we shrink. We make ourselves smaller. We try to fit in. We conform. We might dull our own shine. We might hide our unique talents. We might suppress our true opinions, all to avoid potential disapproval. This fear prevents us from sharing our gifts. It's about choosing authenticity. Section 5, My Own Stumble, Facing the Arena Floor. I remember a time, years ago. It was a moment that seemed to define everything I had worked for up until that point. A moment that was both exhilarating and terrifying. I was invited to give a big talk, a really big talk. The kind of talk that could change the trajectory of my career. On a topic I cared deeply about. It was my life's work, my passion, my everything. My research, my work, my heart. I had poured countless hours into this, sacrificing sleep, social life, and sometimes even my sanity. Initially, I felt a surge of excitement, the kind that makes your heart race and your mind buzz with possibilities. This was a huge opportunity, a chance to stand in the spotlight and share my ideas with the world, a chance to share what I believed in, to inspire others with my journey and my findings. But then, the whispers started, those insidious little voices that creep into your mind when you least expect them. The limiting beliefs began to creep in, loudly, persistently. They echoed in my mind, growing louder with each passing day. They set up camp in my head. They made themselves at home, refusing to leave. The loudest voice said, "You're not ready for this." It was a voice that seemed to know all my insecurities. "Who do you think you are?" It questioned my very identity, my worth, my right to be there. "They're going to see right through you. You're an imposter." The fear of being exposed as a fraud was paralyzing. Another whispered, "You'll stumble over your words." The fear of failure loomed large. People will laugh, or worse, they'll be bored. You'll disappoint everyone. The fear of judgment was immense. The fear of judgment was immense. It felt like a weight pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. The perfectionism kicked in too. I became obsessed with every detail, every word, every slide. I obsessed over every word, every slide, every possible negative outcome. I was terrified. I almost backed out. The fear was overwhelming, but deep down, I knew I had to face it. I had to step into the arena and give it my all. Section 6, A Tiny Light, The Power of a New Question. In the midst of that struggle, that overwhelming fear, something shifted. It was a moment of intense vulnerability, where everything seemed to be closing in. The weight of expectations, the fear of failure, and the dread of judgment were all consuming. But then, amidst the chaos, there was a subtle change. It wasn't a lightning bolt. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic revelation that changed everything in an instant. No, it was much quieter, much gentler. It was more like a tiny flicker of light, a small, quiet realization. A whisper in the dark that suggested there might be another way to look at things. I was reading something. I don't even recall what, but a phrase jumped out. It was a simple line, but it resonated deeply. It spoke of courage, not as the absence of fear, but as the ability to act in spite of it. It was about courage not being the absence of fear, but acting despite it. This idea lingered in my mind, challenging my previous notions of bravery and strength. And then a new question formed in my mind. It was a question that seemed to cut through the noise, the doubts, and the fears that had been holding me back. Instead of, what if I fail? Or what if they judge me? The new question was, what if these fears are just noise? What if they are just distractions, keeping me from seeing the bigger picture? What if these beliefs are just stories I've told myself for so long I've started to believe them? Stories that have no real power, except the power I give them. What if trying, truly trying, is more important than the outcome? This question felt different. It felt liberating, like a breath of fresh air in a stifling room. It felt like it had a little bit of air in it. A little bit of possibility. It was a question that opened up new avenues of thought, new ways of seeing the world and my place in it. It was a gentle challenge to the loud, scary voices, a quiet defiance against the inner critic that had been so dominant for so long. This insight started to reframe the entire situation. It was like looking at a familiar scene from a different angle and seeing details that had been hidden before. The beliefs, I'm not good enough, I'll be judged, they were thoughts, just thoughts, not ironclad truths. They were stories I had the power to rewrite, narratives I could change. And with this new question, I began to see the possibilities, the potential for growth, for change, for a new beginning. It was the power of a new question that lit the way forward. Section 7. Daring to show up messy, real, and worth it. So I made a decision, a terrifying, liberating decision. I decided to do the talk, despite the fear, despite the inner critic, despite the lingering what-ifs. I chose to step into that arena. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, but I walked out onto that stage. It was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. It felt like jumping off a cliff without knowing if there was water below. The experience of being vulnerable like that was intense. It was raw, it was uncomfortable. There were moments I fumbled, moments I felt exposed. Section 8. Choosing courage over comfort. Rewriting our stories. In life, we often find ourselves at a crossroads, faced with decisions that can shape our future. It's in these moments that we have the power to rewrite our stories, to choose a path that aligns with our true selves. That experience was a turning point. It was a moment of clarity, a realization that we have the ability to change our narrative. This epiphany can come from various sources, a book, a conversation, or even a quiet moment of reflection, but it wasn't a one-time fix. The journey of rewriting our stories is ongoing. It's about reflecting on our experiences, journaling our thoughts, and finding determination even after setbacks. Each step forward is a testament to our resilience. Breaking free from limiting beliefs is an ongoing process. It's a practice. It involves daily habits like meditation, attending self-help workshops, and pushing ourselves to climb those metaphorical steep hills. Each effort helps us break the chains of our old narratives. It's about continually choosing courage over comfort. Every brave decision, every step out of our comfort zone, and every leap of faith contributes to the new story we're writing for ourselves. It's about noticing those old familiar scripts when they start to play, and then consciously choosing to write a new line, a new scene, a new ending. This conscious effort to rewrite our narrative is what empowers us to create a life that truly reflects who we are. It requires daily intention. Setting intentions in a journal, practicing mindfulness, and planning our day with purpose are all crucial elements in this process. These small daily actions accumulate over time, leading to significant changes in our lives. A huge part of this rewriting process is self-compassion. It's about treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially when we face challenges. Self-care practices like hugging ourselves or looking at ourselves kindly in the mirror reinforce this compassion. For so long, my inner critic had run the show. Perfectionism demands harsh self-judgment, but courage requires kindness. Battling the inner critic and choosing self-kindness over harsh judgment is a courageous act that transforms our inner dialogue. It requires treating ourselves with the same understanding and support we'd offer a good friend. When we extend this compassion to ourselves, we create a supportive environment for growth and healing. When we stumble, and we will, self-compassion allows us to get back up, to learn the lesson, and to try again, without shame. It's about recognizing that falling is part of the journey and that each fall teaches us something valuable. It's also about celebrating progress, not perfection. Every small win, every step forward is worth celebrating. These moments of joy and recognition fuel our journey and remind us of how far we've come. Section 9. The freedom to be living a wholehearted journey. The transformation is profound. When we begin to break free from these limiting beliefs, life opens up. It becomes richer, more vibrant, more meaningful. We start to live more fully, with more joy, with deeper connections. We are no longer held captive by the invisible walls we once built. We experience a new kind of freedom. The freedom to be ourselves, truly, fully, unapologetically. This journey is available to every single one of us. You too can break free. You can challenge those old stories. You can rewrite your script. It won't always be easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments of fear,